Good evening, everyone. Welcome back to Minute on the Mountain. I am excited for tonight and tomorrow. I'm down in the San Rafael Swell. I've made this trip the last couple of New Year's, basically. Last year, I think I camped down here New Year's Eve into New Year's Day. I'm a couple of days earlier than that this year. Then 2 years ago, I camped down here. I'm gonna flip this around. There is not as much snow this year as the last 2 years I came up. So I'm camped a little higher. I'm on Cedar Mountain, if you guys are familiar with the area. And just got here. It's about 3:30 in the afternoon. I worked this morning till about 10:30 or 11. Then jumped in the truck and headed down. I'm gonna put my tent right over here underneath this tree. There's a fire ring here already. I doubt I'll make a campfire though. I'm not planning on it. We'll see. I've got a new tent I'm going to try out that I got for Christmas. So that's where we kicked out our spot here to put the tent down. And I've got the buddy heater with me, which I imagine I'll need tonight. It's supposed to get down in the, well, right around single digits, like 10 or 9 degrees is supposed to be the low. But we're going to get up early in the morning and do a rabbit hunt / shed hunt through all this up here, all these cedars, and just see what we can see if we can explore a little bit and find something cool. So thanks for coming along, everyone. I'll show you once I get this tent put up. Way off in the distance across the valley there is Huntington Canyon. You might be able to see the steam coming up from the coal plant, the power plant. Very little wind, which is nice. When I was driving down, it was pretty windy, and I thought, oh man, if it's windy, that's going to make it cold, but it's actually fairly calm. So we are all set up. This is the 2-person hiker tent from Ozark Trail. So this is just Walmart, guys. You know, one of the things I've learned over the years, there is definitely a difference in the quality of equipment that you get. I'm not saying all equipment is equal. It's not. But for what most of you are probably going to do, a tent like this will do just fine. I spent $50 on this. You do not have to spend thousands of dollars on gear to go out and enjoy the outdoors. Now, you know, this is heavy. I wouldn't want to pack this in for 50 miles. I'll talk a little bit about it. First off, it did not come with instructions, which if you're new to camping, new to setting it up, that probably could be frustrating. I've had a similar tent to this before, so I kind of knew how it went. Now you notice I have not put the guidelines up. I'm not going to for just one night. I could stake those off certainly, or tie them off even to these cedars right here. I'm not going to do that for just a night. If I was here 2 or 3 nights, I would take the extra time to put them out. It's a cross pole or X pole design. So this pole right here, you know, runs diagonal to the other corner of the tent. This pole right here does the same thing. And then there is a third stability pole that goes right here. It goes over the top of your 2 cross poles, your 2 main poles. Again, there's no instructions. There's instructions on how to fold it when you're done to put it away so it fits in the bag. It's got the 2 vestibules. Each vestibule has a ventilation pocket and mesh, which I like. And then here's going to be home sweet home. I've got my bag, I've got a Thermarest pad, and then another just cheap like $7 foam pad underneath it. That's one of the beauties about truck camping is you can pack heavy. I've got my buddy heater in there and 2 cans of propane. And then when I'm truck camping, I bring this extra wool blanket that I usually put over my feet in the night. I like the fact that the poles on this are, they're the same neon green. So, you know, if you're setting up in the dark or whatever and you're trying to find your poles, you can kind of see it right there. It makes it easy to find. Now, the one thing that I'm nervous about, and I've got this rain fly on so I can't show you, but the tension on the seams underneath this rain fly where this crossbar is, it's pretty tight. And one of the things that does happen with cheaper gear, the place where you run into trouble is your seams. Your seams rip out faster than on a more quality, more expensive thing of gear. But anyway, we're going to give it a run and see how this goes. I've got another little one-man tent that I use when I'm backpacking. but I thought this would be a nice little addition. It's got dual entries, so it's got doors on both sides, which if you do have someone camping with you, it's really nice if you have to get up in the middle of the night and use the bathroom to not have to crawl over the top of them, but just jump down in your side. So anyway, I'm going to get this put away, or get this zipped up and kind of everything put away, and then I'm going to go for a little hike tonight. I've still got about an hour of daylight. See if we can explore a little bit. Drop down in this little wash. I love exploring washes like this. These cool little rock formations. Probably can find us a couple little arches down in here. It's supposed to get rain tomorrow, so I'll have to be careful about not getting into something that could get a lot of water coming down fast. So we'll definitely hit some of these tonight. Oh yeah, I love these little things. Oh. Hear a truck up there on the main road going by. Speaking of flash floods, look at all that debris that got washed down and jammed in under there. Some bottles, cans. Don't be this person, guys. Come out to a place like this, it's this pretty, and just leave your junk around. This cool little rock formation here. Give you a little break from the rain if you needed it. It's high enough off that wash, I think you'd be all right. The water level would have to get really high before you get up to here. Some deer droppings up in here. Sure, the deer are few and far between up here, but I know at least there's been one. Out to the east, that direction, is the Cleveland, I think it's Cleveland Lloyd dinosaur quarry. They got an active dig site out there in a little museum. It's pretty cool. We've taken the kids out there before. Pretty cool. A lot different than Logan. It's one of the things I love about Utah. There's so much diversity in the topography we have. I did decide to go ahead and make a fire. This fire pit was already here. I didn't make a new fire pit. So I just used an existing one, dug it out a little bit, and just lit it. It's really just kind of getting going now. A little bit of firewood around here, not much. I mean, obviously you can see this is high desert country, but there's certainly some of these cedars that are uprooted that are already dead, laying on the ground that you can burn. It's only about 5:40, but it's getting dark. It just gets dark so early this time of year. So I'm gonna get this fire running and sit by it for a minute, and then I'm gonna make dinner. It'll be some sort of backpacker's meal. I'll kind of just reach in and grab one and see what we get, and give you a review on that. It's overcast. Again, we got a storm coming in tomorrow, so I don't think we'll get to see a lot of stars tonight. The stars down here are just absolutely incredible. The air is just so clean. In fact, we had an inversion in Cache Valley, and we had an inversion all the way down through Salt Lake, through Utah Valley. And then when I finally got towards the top of Spanish Fork Canyon, I climbed out of it. Maybe we'll see a few stars peek through every now and then. We're going to call an audible, guys. All the backpackers meals I have are 2 servings, and I'm just not that hungry. I had a fairly late lunch driving down here, and I only hiked like 1.5 miles. I didn't burn a lot of calories, so I don't want to eat a big meal. So I've got water boiling. We're just going to go with a couple noodles. I had a handful of these in my tote that I just keep with me. This is kind of my catch-all when I'm truck camping. I keep my stove in here. I've got a lantern or two in here. I keep a lot of food in here. You know, wipes, flashlights, all that kind of stuff. So when I'm ready to go, I can just throw it in the truck, and it usually has everything I need in it. Every now and then I'll restock it, obviously. So anyway, we got the water boiling on the little Coleman stove. We'll have some cup of noodles, and we're just gonna go sit by the fire. Still got a little bit of daylight left. Got the tent put away. Got the truck running to warm it up just a little bit. It's a little brisk. Checked on the fire pit again this morning to make sure it's all out. So we're going to drive up the road a little bit and explore. I haven't been up on Cedar Mountain. I've been down in this area a lot, but never up here. So I'm going to drive a little bit and just kind of check things out before I get out and decide where to hike. We'll get the tailgate up on the truck and get going, but it's overcast today, which I knew it was going to be. Let's go see if we can find something cool. Still not to where I want to hike, but as I was driving up the mesa, got to a point where it looked like I'd be able to see over the edge in 300 or 400 yards, and sure enough, how about that view? Oh, look at that. So the wedge overlook is right over across that valley. You can see where the river winds through over there. It'll be hard to see in the GoPro. The turnoff for that wedge overlook is out in the middle of that valley there. And then maybe we'll drop into Buckhorn Wash today after I hike. I don't think I've ever videoed any of that for you guys, so it's beautiful down in there. So we'll drive down there and drop off and check it out. But just wanted to come over here and look over the edge. Glad I did. We're going to break this overnighter into two parts. I've just got a ton of footage, and I don't want to turn this into a 30-minute video. And I'm sure you guys don't want it to be a 30-minute video either. You're going to see even better scenery on the next video. That's next day of the trip, the morning. Just kept getting better and better as far as, you know, God's creation and how pretty that area was. And then I did get a little shed hunt in, and I was able to knock off a new county. So you'll see that on the next video as well. I want to do a couple things. Number one, I just want to say a big thank you to Joey and Chris over at My Slice of Heaven Outdoors. They were kind enough to send me this Christmas card. Joey and Chris, I sure appreciate it, your kindness and the kind words that you sent. And just super excited for you guys and Chris's health and her being free from cancer. What an awesome thing that is. Praise God for that. So just praying for tons of blessings for you guys this year. Can't wait to see how you continue to progress on the chestnut orchard. If you guys have never checked out Joey and Chris's channel, I'll put a link in the description. Make sure you go check them out. One of the hardest working couples I've ever seen on YouTube, man. They're always doing something. So check them out when you get a chance. Let's wrap this up with the Minute on the Mountain. We are up to the book of Nehemiah, and kind of a lesser known book, but really one of my favorite books. It was hard for me to pick a verse to focus on. There's so many things about Nehemiah. There's a lot of leadership lessons we can learn in it. I love the fact that men are called to do hard things. I love the scene where the men are rebuilding the wall, and they've got a sword in one hand and their trowel in the other as they're rebuilding it. But what I wanted to focus on comes from chapter 1. So Nehemiah has been exiled with the nation of Israel. He's actually a cupbearer to the king. And he says the following: one of his brothers, Hanani, came from Judah with some other men, and I questioned them about the Jewish remnant that had survived the exile and also about Jerusalem. So Hanani is coming back from Jerusalem, and Nehemiah wants to know how the Israelites who are there are doing. He says, they said to me, those who survived the exile are back in the province, are in great trouble and disgrace. The wall of Jerusalem is broken down, and its gates have been burned with fire. Nehemiah says, then when I heard these things, I sat down and wept. For some days I mourned and fasted and prayed before the God of heaven. And his prayer is pretty powerful. You know, it's a prayer of repentance and confession. He recognizes that the reason Israel's been exiled is because of their disobedience, that God is just in what he did, and that they deserved even more than that, really, if you look at the nation of Israel and what they had done. But what strikes me is Nehemiah had a pretty cushy gig. He lived in the royal palace. He was a cupbearer. And yet his heart broke for the nation of Israel. His heart broke for the things that broke God's heart. And so as we head into the new year, that's something that I'm just wishing for myself. I pray that the things that are important to God would be important to me. I pray the things that break his heart would break my heart. So that's Minute on the Mountain, Nehemiah chapter 1. Check it out when you have some time. I think you'll really enjoy the book. Thanks so much for coming along, guys. We'll see you the next time we're out on the mountain as we pick up part 2 of this overnighter on Cedar Mountain. God bless you. Have a great week.